Hey guys, what is going on? Welcome to video number 4 in the 30 for 30 business lessons in 30 days challenge. I just noticed the lighting's really bad, but I'm really tired. I've been working for a long time all day. So we're just going to run with the cell phone because we're going to be getting my computer here in a second anyways. But what we're going to be talking about here today is knowing one of the most important metrics when it comes to running your business. And there are a lot of very important metrics and numbers that you need to be aware of when managing your business. But without knowing what we're going to be talking about here, which is the cost per lead and cost per acquisition when it comes to getting clients, without clients coming into the business, there is nothing else happening anywhere else in the business because there's just nothing happening because there's no customers paying for services. So that's what we're going to hop into. And yeah, let's get into my computer right there. So the most important metric to know in your business, your CPL and your CAC, cost per lead and cost to acquire a customer. The reason these are so important is because, yes, all the profitability and how much your equipment costs and your people and all that sort of stuff is important to know and it all ties in. But without these numbers here, it means the business has no customers. And if it does, then the business doesn't know how much it costs to get those customers coming in. That means it doesn't know its numbers, and that's not good. And that means all the numbers associated with everything else except for these two are basically worthless because that other stuff and people and all those, everything else is not being used on customers' properties, exchange money for services to those customers. So these are very important to know. And what we're going to do is basically run through an advertising campaign, figure out our response rate to then analyze our CPL. Then with our CPL, we're going to calculate our close rate to then gather the cost to acquire each customer. Then figure out the long-term value or lifetime value of said customer to then add all that up to figure out the ROI of our campaign. And this is something that generally takes place over the course of a few months or maybe a month's time, depending on how many customers are coming into the business and how long it takes for you to gather the value. If you're just strictly advertising to landscape installation customers, then the lifetime value might be a little bit different than it's just maintenance. So that's something that's a bit more advanced than we're going to get into in this video. This is just going to be simple math, but that's just a quick rundown on what we're going to cover. Also, I know there's going to be someone that's going to say, well, I don't have money to spend on advertising, or that's too expensive. I only got $20 to spend on my business. Well, if you want to grow your business and you want to build it into something that's going to be either allow you at least live your dream life or at least be happier, because that way you don't have to work a job. And if you're someone who's happy with just becoming solo or one guy working for you or whatever, then more power to you. Then you're happy with where the situation that you are eventually in. But it's going to take some risk and some sacrifice with your money to invest it into advertising. It's not like it's going to the casino and putting it all on 00 on the roulette wheel and you land on black and then boom, all of your money's gone. You start out small and just work with what you can and see what works and then change things up as you go and adjust as you are moving forward and continue building up and analyzing that data, keeping track of it, using these numbers here and figuring out how much it's costing you and what's working, what's not. And you just keep going and going from there. It's never like you just literally spend $2,000 on lottery tickets and then all of a sudden you lose. It's not like that, and it never will be if you are smart with it and have somewhat of a plan going into things. So also there's going to be someone who will probably say, well, I just rely on word of mouth and it gets me 3 clients per month. And word of mouth is sweet, especially because it's a really easy sell at that point. But the problem with it is, one, there's no control. So, and what I mean by that is you can't necessarily control your customer, that person is going to tell their friend or family or whoever it is. You don't have 100% control of that person, but you do have 100% control when you go over to Facebook and say, I want to spend $500 this month on ads, or I want to spend $1,000 with Vistaprint or Gotprint.net or whoever to buy postcards from them, and I want to spend another $500 on distributing them with the U.S. Postal Service. That is 100% control. Those things, aspects you can control. You can also control what the design will look like and all those sorts of things. You can't necessarily control what those people say about your business. And yes, it'll probably be good, but the other issue number 2 with it is that it's really, really, really slow. Because unless you have hundreds and hundreds of people working for your business, basically, where they're saying, hey, this company works amazing. And yes, we want to get to that point where then the customer acquisition cost is super, super low and you're still growing at a rapid rate, but you got to get to that point first. So that is the other reason. And it's just painfully, painfully slow, but referral programs help and offering discounts help as well, but just don't rely on only that when you're getting going. All right, let's start breaking this thing down. So we're going to run an advertising campaign for $5,000 and we're going to reach 5,000 people. So let's just say that we have 5,000 postcards and they're $1 a piece to get them designed and printed, shipped and bundled up, and then have the postal service distribute them. Then we get a 2% response, which is pretty average. Sometimes it's less, sometimes it's more, depending on the ad copy on there, the calls to action, coupons, discounts, or anything like that on there, as well as the timing, where they were sent. There are so many different variables that go into it, but it's going to bring us 100 leads. And we'll say the CPL, and so the CPL on this is $50 per lead. We'll just say we're trying to get mowing customers. So then when we have those 100 leads, let's say we close 30% of them. So 30 new clients is what we had signed. 30% is relatively average for a close rate. We were around that 50 to 60% range, depending on the service, of course, and there's another thing where there's a lot of variables and you just need to measure the data and assess as you go. But so that leads us with the acquisition cost of $170 each. Now you're probably thinking, well, holy crap, that's a lot of money, $170, and we just started doing the work, and that means we're going to lose money that first month. Well, and that may be true, but again, you've got to be focused on the long term. You can't be focused on today's buck to float you on by. And that's the reason I will say to work a business or start doing landscape installations first. That way you got some cash saved up if you're doing mowing services and that sort of thing. But you are going to need to focus on long-term value, because each one of those clients, even if they just stay on for 5 months, let's say $200 a month, so they're $40 a week of mowing services, that's $1,000 per client. That's if they only stay on for the year. If the service quality is good enough, and generally you'll have some customers fall off, that happens, they'll move or something happens with their job or whatever. However, if the average LTV, and this is why we average things out, so that way we can calculate for the people that move or leave or not work with you anymore, say it's $1,000 for 5 months worth of mowing, $200 a month, all that sort of stuff. That becomes $30,000 over the course of 5 months, which equals a 6x ROI from that initial $5,000 that you'd spent. And when you figure out this whole thing right here over a few different campaigns that you're running, obviously it's going to cost a little bit of money. You separate out the ad budget to different forms of advertising to see what the CPLs are and the acquisition cost to see which one's lower, which one generates more response. And these are all things that you need to tweak. I do this every single day with my marketing agency, with bringing in customers and seeing which works. The only thing different about it is the amount spending, the amount that you acquire a customer for. All those vary within every single industry, but this is basically the recipe to figure out how much a campaign works. And if it does, then sweet, run with it. And if not, you just tweak it until it does. And if it doesn't work after changing it a whole bunch, then just scrap it, and you then have data. You never lose money when it comes to smart advertising if you're coming at it with an approach like this right here, because you then just gathered a whole bunch of data and you realize, okay, well, advertising to this area with this particular form of media with this ad copy did not work. We changed the ad copy and then it still didn't work even at the right time of year or whatever, because you basically need to know these 6 steps when it comes to advertising and putting this to use in your business. So if you like cool business training videos like this, be sure to go down below and hit that subscribe button and to click the bell for the notification, so that way you know when every one of these videos is uploaded to the channel here. My name is Matt Wacek, founder of Entrepreneurship. Thanks for watching the channel, and we'll see you tomorrow with the next video.